to the Istora Senayan. Now, we've had unfortunate news in the third match here on Court 1 with the retirement of Nozomi Okuhara. And we're now moving into the fourth match of the day with Kia Iwanishi and Rin Iwanaga of Japan taking on Trisa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichan Pullela of India. Women's doubles. This is the draw for you, the brackets. And the winner here plays either Bekhana or Lee So-hee, potentially. So Japanese pair coming through, they'll be, of course, stung by the news of their compatriot Nozomi Okuhara and her retirement. That's a real setback, but Chris Langridge here with me. And Chris, we talked a bit earlier about the preparation, or maybe the lack of it, maybe just coming into it, or anyway, your preparation is disrupted, I think might be the more accurate way. It's not ideal. I suppose the only way to I guess console yourself is that it's the same for both pairs.
Yeah, it's an even playing field, but as you say, you know, both pairs were shocked. I think it's quite generous the time that they were given in the end, because we have had obviously I don't know exactly what it is, around 10 minutes for them to just get ready and so on. But the start of this match is integral for both pairs to have a good start and settle. I think one of the most important things in a I would consider this a 50-50 match, is how well you settle, because you've got to kind of get the nerves out, you've got to feel good, and the quicker you do that, the sooner you get into the match.
It's a black. Who will receive? You will receive. You will serve. Okay. That side. Okay.
Look at our players here. Rin Iwanaga, 24, from Yamaguchi, 166 centimeters tall, and 15 is their highest rank. They're currently 20th in the world. That was achieved not too long ago, October 2022. Asian Championships last year, got a silver medal with her partner, who's 27 and 170 centimeters tall. They have been runners-up twice on the World Tour, 2019 Dutch Open, 2021 Hilo Open. Up-and-coming pair, really, these guys. She did win the Russian Open once before, by the way, Kia Nakanishi. That was a different partner in 2018. Trisa Jolly is 20 years of age. She's from the south of India, in Kerala, 164 centimeters tall, not playing too far away from her best ranking of 14, which she achieved just a few weeks ago. Has got a silver medal in the Commonwealth Games, the mixed team event, and a bronze in the women's doubles from last year. Also from the south, Gayatri Gopichan Pullela. That's, of course, a very famous name in the world of badminton. More than that, in a short while, these two have achieved a Super 100 gold at the Odisha Open last year. Yeah, these two pairs have sort of had an upward trajectory, haven't they? Iris Metspalu is in charge of this one from Estonia. She'll be ably assisted by the service judge. Trish Gubb from New Zealand.
Ready to play.
How do you see this one panning out, Chris?
I would honestly say it's a 50-50. I think you've got It's quite interesting just when you even look at the ages of the players, just because the two girls from India are both very young. I mean, they're in just 20, and the pair from Japan, they are slightly different ages from each other, but at 24 and 27. But if you look at the experience that both pairs have as a partnership on tour, it's actually quite similar, which is quite strange, because I would say normally players from the Asian continent, generally they're slightly younger when they achieve kind of their successes and they get up and running. Sometimes from Europe they can be just a fraction older when they hit their peak. So I would say for the Japanese pair, who are just a little bit older, it's interesting that they've only kind of got the same amount of experience on tour as the Indian girls. But the Indian girls, I tell you what, the amount they've improved over the last, I'd probably say 18 months. I actually coached against them at the very start of their career, which was back in December 2021.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and I could tell there was something a bit different about them, and they worked so well together. I totally understand why they were put together. They're a good partnership with their styles. They complement each other so well.
Here Nakanishi to serve to Gayatri Gopichan Pullela. Love play.
There from the Japanese, who won 15 of their 22 previous first-round matches on the World Tour. With the Indians, they've won 11 out of 19 first-round matches on the World Tour. Serve is good.
Service over.
Just a fraction out, yeah. It's hard to see from the angle we're at. Say the styles from both pairs, they have, especially the Indians, they've got a very preferred formation with Teresa at the back, powerful player, first the rear of the court, and then you've got Gayatri at the front being the dangerous net player, sensitive, using variation, touch, skill. And I'd say for the Japanese, they've got a similar just getting excited then for that relic who's going to be a cutout winner. A similar style as well, where you've got Iwanaga, who's the right-hander, who's for me more the net player with the sorry, I was getting so excited in that rally. This has been a long run. As I get into a rally and then we end with a simple mistake. Everyone was moving the shuttle around well. It was a nice start to the game, and then a simple mistake in the end. But yeah, sorry, going back to Nakanishi, I'd say she's kind of the dangerous rear court player with the big smash. I do often find left-handers, just because of the way they hit the shuttle, often they do have a crisper, cleaner hit than right-handers. I mean, that is being very simplistic in a way of describing it, but you see the power already in the drive there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Chris, being a double specialist, is there any advantage to having a left-right combo at all?
I personally do, just because you can set each other up a bit more easily on your forehands. There's less of them in regards to train against them. I know it sounds such a simple thing, but most pairs, not obviously all, but most pairs are right-handers in the partnership. You do get very few exceptions where you do get a pair of left-handers, but that is, a real exception. The only one I can think of is the mixed doubles pair from Hong Kong, top-ranked pair. I can't actually think of another pair at the moment. But the left-hander, right-hander combo, that's brilliant. Took that so early. And this is the thing we're going to get. We're going to get long good rallies in this ladies' doubles. Everybody moving the shuttle around well. Good push through there from Gayatri. If she'd have just played to the net, I think it would have been the wrong shot. It was a great little push through. She just held it, a little bit of deception, and just pushed it through into the gap between the two players. And obviously for Gayatri, it's a tough one having to follow in her father's footsteps, being one of the...
Well, this is what we were alluding to, Pullela Gopichand.
Yeah, you know, her father's an incredibly famous man in India, and who kind of almost started badminton in India. Yeah. Winning the All England all that time ago, and she actually has a brother that plays, who I actually coach, which is quite a small world. He's a great player himself, Ishnu. Doesn't play on the World Tour at the moment. Maybe in the future he will. He's currently focusing on his studies. But yeah, it must be tough coming from a family, you know, following in your father's footsteps when he has been at that level. Right. Wow. Oh, she did incredible to get that back.
Skimming along the net there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a net cord there from the Japanese. Stepped in here, and then that's a brilliant shot.
All square at the moment. Nothing to separate these pairs.
That's good play there from Iwanaga. Great covering her side. And this is the advantage they do have. When they put pressure on the Japanese, they can both take their forehands if the situation is right, which for me does give you that slight advantage. You both push up on your forehand. It's the right shot, but then it's a simple mistake. Just too wide.
Service over, 5-all.
There.
Really nice play, and it was fantastic from Teresa at the net, where she plays a little bit that brush off that we just didn't quite see, because then they get the short lift and then relentless attack.
They have lost previously to an Indian pair in the opening round of a tournament. Only once before. That was the All England last year, Iwanaga and Nakanishi. Good start here for both pairs. Matching each other at the moment.
Good attack from the Indians there. Good placed attack and then great cutout at the net.
So it's the biggest lead anyone's had so far, 2 points, been tight.
It was good defense here from Gayatri. She just kept it going. She kept it flat over the net. Didn't have to do a lot with it, but she couldn't do a lot with it. But she kept it simple and just kept getting it back and putting her opponent under a fraction of pressure. And then in the end, fairly simple mistake from the Japanese.
In Australia, we've had thus far 42 shots. The pattern has been set here.
Good placement.
Very good. That corner.
Service over, 7-8.
Indians themselves have been knocked out in the opening round. Japanese player once before, a few months ago at the Spain Masters. Miura Sakuramoto. That 2-point lead has disappeared.
It's good play there from the Japanese, moving the shuttle around really well. Although the Indians had the attack, they were never in a great position, and then they almost exposed the Indian partnership. And then you can see there, they get the attack and it's just far too short. I would say that the Japanese over, I saw them play last week, and they had a very impressive week. And they are really really improved pair, I'd say. They're kind of, I know they're ranked down at 20 in the world, but I would say that's not a realistic ranking. I'd say they're a much better pair than that.
Well, Japan's blessed with so many women's doubles pairs, Chris.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, on the rankings, they would be a low-down pair for Japan, ranked at 20 in the world. But last week, you know, they beat a pair ranked 5 in the world and 12 in the world. And then when they played a pair ranked 4 in the world, it was a 3-set kind of thriller. Right. So, you know, they're right at that level, and they're probably the 6th ranked Japanese pair, which is unbelievable to think, yeah.
No, we talk about Olympic hopefuls. It's a big ask for them, isn't it?
And yeah, and this is the thing that's so difficult for some of the nations. When you are ranked, even 3rd, if you're the 3rd pair and you're ranked, you know, that's the wrong shot there from Gatry. If you're ranked, say, 9 in the world, but you're the 3rd pair, you're not going to qualify.
That's it. You're done.
Only 2 pairs in the top 8, and for Japan,
Korea have the same problem, I think, as well.
Yeah, Korea do. Korea's a crazy one. If I look at the rankings right now, they've got 2 in the world, 3 in the world, and then they've got 7 in the world. So the pair ranked 7 in the world will not be able to qualify because the rules don't allow it.
Which means you've just got to accrue as much as you can. Going to visible, Iwanaga and Nakanishi lead 11-9.
So ready for that half court, okay? And then the left hand is a little bit weaker.
And there actually was the legend himself and her father behind the court. I mean, India have 2 pretty good coaches there. You got Matthias Boe, who was one of the most successful European men's doubles player ever, and Sir Gopachan as well.
You mentioned there,
Service over, 10, 11.
I know Rankireddy and Shetty have really credited him, India's men's doubles players, about what an influence he's been.
Yeah, I think it's really nice the belief that they have in him and the way that they work together. For me, it feels really unified. It feels like they're a real team, and I think that's an integral part. You have to believe in the coach, and the coach has to believe in them, and they seem to work so well together. And I think it's a great thing for India. I think with Matthias going over there and let's say taking some of his phenomenal experience and in coaching, but also in playing, as in he's been one of the very best in the world, and he was for so long. And now he's taken over to India, and they're starting to have more and more doubles players, more and more doubles players coming through in mixed doubles, men's doubles, ladies doubles. For me, it's just starting to feel a bit more organised, which I think India are, wow, they're such a improved nation over the last 5-6 years.
We saw the Thomas Cup last year, remember?
Incredible. That was absolutely incredible.
Jolly and Pullela doing very well there too. Now draw level again. Much longer rallies than we've had in this entire day, Chris.
Yeah, it's a game where it's integral to be moving the shuttle around. We haven't seen that many cheap points. Everyone's working the rally to win it. Yeah, brilliant pressure there from the Indians together as a partnership. You had Gatry at the net being really dangerous in the net, just following up. Teresa, her partner, just following up, stepping forward and then taking that on. Quite an easy mistake there from the Japanese. They were dominating that rally. She just had to keep the pressure on it. The Indians were under quite a lot of pressure. She didn't have to do too much with that.
Yep. Forced. It's got to be frustrating. Oh, scrambling to get that jolly, but it was just... This is the biggest lead anyone has had, 3 points.
And after that interval, the Indians have come out a lot more aggressive.
Yeah. That's the first point that the Japanese have taken since the interval. 5-1 since the break in favour of the Indians. Just a point in it now. Power there from Jolly.
Yeah, big smash, but really well placed. It's actually quite interesting how the two Indian girls actually formed their partnership, because Gayatri especially, she was a singles player, and then kind of with COVID happening, she then converted to doubles, which is, I mean, it's a blessing for India and also the ladies doubles, because what a partnership they've turned into. But it's interesting because in India, it's a country that's dominated by phenomenal singles players. They've got so much depth in the singles. I mean, men's singles in India now, you could probably pick 30 players of a good level, which is, you know, it's amazing. So for these two young ladies to come through as the best at the moment, ladies doubles pair, it's great, and it's such a young age as well. It's amazing how it kind of all works out. For me, it was definitely the right move, because she's such a dangerous net player.
A big reaction there. They know they put themselves in a pretty decent position here, Chris.
Yeah, brilliant. And now, as you said, the lead is just starting to grow, and I feel like the Indian pair are just getting better as this first game is going on. It's going to be interesting if the Japanese change anything. I think that the defense from the Indian pairs got better and better.
There he
just
is.
Focusing there on the
man himself.
The two Indian coaches, two very, very famous men.
Now, I know they've lost a point, but you've detected an increased aggression, shall we say, from the Indians. That wasn't a very aggressive shot, wasn't it, from Jolly?
I think it's also the way that the Indians are moving the shot around, even when they're not forcing anything. So they're doing big lifts, putting the Japanese on the back line, and then when they get the chance, they're blocking and moving in. They're not forcing it to give the Japanese an easy chance in the mid-court or anything like that, or they're not playing a block or a net shot when there's a player already stood there that they could put pressure on them. They're playing a very disciplined game.
8-3 at the moment in favour of the Indians since the interval.
Good shot there. Ooh, great touch. Oh, did I go over? I did.
What? Was she in two minds there?
I think I'm not sure she saw it come over, and then I think last second. And if we get to see that from the side, we'll get a better understanding of exactly what happened. So brilliant there. And then it must, I just can only assume she did. Here we go.
Yeah, well, this is the angle you want.
Yeah, I mean, she just got it wrong, She just didn't think it was coming over. But from that angle, we can, you can see it clearly was. Sometimes as well, the shot before, she played such an incredible net shot. You almost switch off for a millisecond because you think, oh, brilliant, I've won the rally, and then your opponent gets it back and you just weren't quite ready.
Just 2 points in it. The Japanese have battled back a little bit here.
That's a poor return. Good serve, but the return, it was a nothing
16,
return. For me, when you're poking at the body of the server, you've got to fully commit, and it's got to be a good return. Then maybe you duck and you let it come through, or you poke and you look off. And it wasn't really any of that, and it was far too much for Gauchi to have to cover there.
Nice. Lovely.
You can see Gauchi, almost every chance she gets to block and go forward, she is. Because her role is the net player. Her job is to get the attack for her partner, who's the strong, powerful one at the back.
Just trying to ease off some of that pressure that would have been building up on the Indian pair. Very similar records this year. 19 matches played by Iwanaga and Nakanishi. They've won 10 of them. Jolie and Pullela played 19, won 11. So very, very similar.
Play.
Between the two, Jolie, the power again that she generates.
19-16.
Yeah, it's a short lift from the Japanese, you can see there.
No.
A great rotation out. Read it well, and then it's good placement. It's splitting the two players in the middle.
The old hair clip routine. Just look at that. These are the gamesmanship things, aren't they?
Well, it's a tough one, because for the umpire to hurry you along when you need to put your hair... I mean, I never experienced that.
You haven't had that problem.
But I guess it's one of those things you just got to wait for, because if you get hair in your face, I can imagine it'll be a nightmare. Yeah, Drift's just taking that out.
You've seen that, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it's over 17-19.
2 is the lead, and 2 is what the Indians need here. It's gone well, well wide.
18-19.
Well, the pair that made it all the way to the semi-finals of All England.
Yeah, that was an incredible result. They beat 8 in the world, 9 in the world, 4 in the world, and that's the pair's current rankings.
Yeah.
But it shows, they didn't just get lucky. They beat some real world-class pairs.
And the Japanese, who were trailing, remember, by 3 or 4 points, have drawn level here, right when it matters.
Absolutely crucial point now.
For it, Teresa Jolie.
20, game ball. 20.
And that's given the Japanese a solitary game point here. What a time to retake the lead here for the Japanese. The first time they've done it since the interval.
Yeah, two quite big leads from the Indian girls that they've just let slip.
Yeah.
I do think this return of serve's quite integral because some of the returns of serve from the Indian girls maybe haven't been fantastic. It's an easy mistake there.
All square here.
Silver,
They need a winner by 2 clear points now. Iwanaga, did she just snatch at that?
21.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the
20.
one of the easier shots of the rally, and maybe the shuttle went. I think it was that angle before, and then yeah, she didn't have to win it on that shot. It was just keep the pressure on because they started to then. That was kind of the first point where you felt like they dominated the rally, just because the shot before from the Indians was just a fraction short.
So you felt she forced that one?
Yeah, I think she thinks she has to win it on that point. She doesn't. The way I do it is almost percentages. Before then, the rally's quite even, so it's 50-50. At that point, let's say you've got 70%, your opponent's got 30%. And all you want to do is slightly increase that percentage to 80% or 90%. When you're at 90%, then you can win the rally. Because if you think someone's got to turn it around from having 30% of the rally, they can't win the rally from that situation, because if they've only got 30%, they need to get back to 50-50 before they get the advantage to even contemplate winning the rally. And if your opponent plays an absolutely incredible shot, you can kind of accept it.
Game point for the Indians here.
That's a good shot. It's out. Cheap mistake.
Another one for the Japanese pair, but it's the Indian pair who've come through this, having had a couple of decent leads after the interval. So they'll be relieved as well as delighted that they're in front here. And Pullela take that first game, 22-20.
And if you make a mistake, we accept it. Okay, even if it's a stupid mistake, we reset and then we focus on it. We have a forehand situation. So it's really important when we start the rally, we look who is receiving or who is serving, where is the forehand, because then you know where to put either third or fourth shot, okay, away from their forehand. And still remember, the wind is a little bit this side, so now the good corner, it's this one. Yeah? Otherwise, it's just a bit. This one is good.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Players on court.
So I was
Players on court.
asking Chris to strain his ears, boosting up the volume as much as I could. Chris, did you manage to get a bit of that?
So yeah, unfortunately my Japanese is non-existent, but I caught a tiny bit of what Mattis was saying to the girls, and it was just about highlighting both of the Japanese players favour their forehands considerably, and I would say they're both a lot more dangerous than their forehand. And the other thing is just identifying a safe zone, and by that it would just be in relation to the drift. So if we're looking from where we are, let's wait for this rally.
Service over. 10-5.
It's the right shot. It's the right shot.
So
yeah, so the safe zone is, as we look at the court, the backhand side now for the Japanese. I say that one's left-handed, one's right-hand, so it doesn't really help. So Iwanaga, she's serving. It will be her backhand because the shuttle's going to come back into the court. So as we look at the court, the drift goes from left to right. So the shuttle's only going to come into court. So that's why it's the safe zone at the back.
Ooh.
I think that just sneaked out.
Just out, there is.
It's the right shot because they're looking for the backhand, but you've just got to be careful. You've got to aim inside tram line.
That's a dangerous area.
Correct, because the drift's going that way. So if you try and play it in between the two tram lines, the drift could just sneak it out. So they just need to be a little bit safer. And it's just settling to the change of ends.
Japanese are concerned.
It's important now for the Indian girls to get a rally in, and by that I just mean the rallies have been really short and sharp. They haven't settled at all in this second game. They've got to find a way of having a rally and feeling comfortable down this end, moving the shuttle round.
Well, any way will do right now for the Indians just to get a point on the board.
Stepped in well there, and that came back in.
That was is it the hesitation, the slight, because you're not sure?
Definitely, yeah, it is. It's because when it's that close, it takes, you know, maybe a billionth of a second. Just is it in, is it out? Well, it's too long. And then the shot there was flat and short, and then the pressure just builds.
Chris, this noise is just going to build as the day progresses, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
we're only about what, three quarters yet? 2/3?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's that. I mean, they're so packed. The Indonesian fans are so passionate about badminton that it really is incredible. We've not actually even got an Indonesian player on court on any of the three courts, and the crowd is still phenomenal.
But they know their badminton, don't they? They know the players.
I'd love to have been on the cheering side of this hall once. It would have been lovely to experience.
Good. As you said, don't aim too close to the tram lines.
Yeah, and that's just drifted away. And I don't know if the drift's fractionally held it up, the front-back drift, just a fraction, because that's a long way in the end.
That's comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the one you've got to be careful of. When you're hitting cross-court from the forehand, as Gayachi did, just because on a controlled shot like that, it has time for the drift to just sneak it. And we're only talking a fraction, but obviously it was a fraction out.
But it is also what we kind of discussed earlier. The Indians are now on that side for the first time, so they're also having to quickly adjust, don't they?
Yeah, and it does. It can take a few points just to make yourself feel comfortable and settle on the other side.
Well, they're only a point behind now.
Yeah, it's a good lift there. That was literally back line. And this is the thing in a hall like this, when you can lift and you can put your opponent on the back line, it's difficult to attack. But then on the polar opposite of that, if you're hitting short lifts, this is a lovely hall to attack in. It's so integral, the quality of the lifts. It's a cheap mistake there.
Service over, 7-5.
just got to step in, Teresa, there when she's playing that shot. She's got to have her body weight moving forwards, moving towards where she wants the shuttle to go. It's the right shot, but again, it's just aim that inside tram. Yeah, you just want to play it safe that side because it's the right shot. It's the gap. And yes, the Japanese would have got it back. They would have, but they would have been in trouble because they've been stretched. They've been exposed.
The D factor. 3-point lead for the Japanese again. Missed it.
9-5.
Slight mistiming now. I still would want, if I was the Japanese coach, with Nakanishi being the rear court player, I just want a little bit more variation from her at the back. She does have a very clean, crisp hit, she does. But for me, I think the Indians are getting a bit more comfortable in their defence. I would want her to just have a little bit of variation. Could be a slice, drop. And it doesn't have to be every shot.
We haven't seen that, have we, at all?
Not really, that's the thing. Whereas I'd say we've seen a lot more variation from the Indian girls' attack. Good net there. Wow, brilliant shot.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
A bit more subtlety from Teresa Jolie.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible shot. She made that look so easy. You see this here, she steps in well, but she plays that to perfection.
17.
Lovely angle on that.
The key was she stepped in. She stepped in and took it early. She didn't wait. As soon as she felt her opponent was struggling a fraction, take that movement forwards. Take the shuttle early.
Service over. 10-6.
Four-point lead here for the Japanese pair. Pretty much been in that sort of position. So that was second game.
Great pressure again.
Silver, 7-10.
Service over. 10-18.
Gone for the flick.
Perfect.
That's
It's going to
good.
be.
Ooh.
Here, Nakanishi challenges called in.
Naked eye test for me, Chris. I thought that was in, but I don't know.
I really don't know. It's close. This is why, again, it's so good that we've got Hawkeye. Because in that situation, I mean, I'm sure Hawkeye's going to show how close it was. Just clip the line.
That's good.
Great flick.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining.
Great call by the line judge.
8-10.
Yeah, that could have easily been 11-7, so they've done well here, just 2 points. Another flick, this time it's out though.
She did catch her opponent there. I think Iwanaga was stepping in, stepping forward, so it was a good flick. Just maybe it could have been a fraction wider, just so the distance then the shot left to travel was a fraction further. So yeah, maybe wouldn't have sneaked out.
Also the element of surprise, 2 in a row, right? Would have been...
Yep. Teresa, she does have a very strong forearm, a very strong wrist. She has great power to almost hold it and just punch it last second.
Intriguingly poised, I think this one is.
Definitely, it's been a really exciting ladies doubles and very, very even game. And I did say before the match, I honestly think it's a 50-50.
You call this as a very close one.
Yeah, 50-50. I know the rankings would suggest the Indians are the superior pair, but I would say, and it's, you know, it's been that way pretty much so far. It's been very, very close.
Chris, they're both coming into this. I'll be talking about close. They've both played 78 matches, 52 wins for the Indians, 51 wins for the Japanese, 27 losses for the Japanese, 28 for the... I mean, it's just as tight as you can get.
Yeah, I saw that statistic as well, and it is crazy. It's crazy to think that two pairs will be playing each other, and they have both played...
almost identical.
Exactly the same amount of matches as a partnership. It is, I mean, that is a real weird one. I can't see that happening many times at all.
Exactly.
Just mistimed defensive shot there.
9-11.
So what do we feel here, Chris, on this far end where the Indians are on now? What should they be doing, taking to cut the drift? I mean, kind of what we heard Matthias say at the break earlier, right?
Well, they've got to, it's integral that they step up, because you can't afford to wait for the shuttle in this hall. You have to try and step in like that. Japanese did it well.
Right.
What you do with the shuttle is kind of the key in regards to you've got to always step into the shuttle.
Okay.
If you let the shuttle come to you,
so be proactive.
Exactly, and it is integral. And this is often what you see when someone gets nervous, when someone gets tense, they wait for the shuttle, they let it come to them. If you do that, you give your opponent more time. If you give your opponent more time, you're kind of giving him the key to success. If you get, or her, you're giving because if they're early on it, they can almost do what they want as long as they don't hit a totally the wrong shot. When you're early on the shuttle, you have control of the rally. This is the key.
It's a fine line though, right, between being early and then snatching at shots.
100%. Yeah, this is the other key. When you get nervous, players will snatch because they're almost panicking. Yeah. When you get nervous, your arm gets tense. When it gets tense, you snatch, you panic, you can't be calm, you can't push the shuttle in the correct manner. And it's also the power you use. Generally, when players get tense, they get what I would call a stiff arm or a tense arm. And when you get a tense arm, you can't play controlled shots, you can't play creative. It's very simplistic, everything's almost wooden. Your arm becomes rigid. And now it's just all that we've seen from the...
A couple of times that's happened.
Yeah, just a few mistakes. But for me, the Indian girls, they don't need to worry. They don't need to panic. They won the first game, which is the integral part. They just need to settle again. They just made a few unforced errors. I wouldn't say the Japanese have done anything incredible. I'd just say it's just a few mistakes from the Indian girls. They just need to settle again from the break at 11.
It's 5 now for the Japanese. Best it's been so far. And I think it's been into the net 3 times since the interval.
But this is the thing.
9.
For me, there's nothing wrong with the shot.
Yeah.
As in, is it totally the wrong shot? Not at all. She's just trying to play a fraction too tight. But also, do you see there? She's not stepping in. If we see here, she's kind of waiting. I need her body movement to be going forward so that when she's striking a shuttle, the body is going in a forward direction. She's almost allowing the shuttle to come to her, and that's just why she's missing. But it's integral that she understands there's not really much she's doing wrong, as in it's not totally the wrong shot. She's not putting the partnership in trouble. It's just she has to step into the shuttle.
9.
It's been excellent, hasn't it, from the Japanese since the interval, coupled with, as you mentioned, a number of unforced errors. The Indians, the lead is now a whopping 7.
Brilliant shot there. Good defense. Wow, this is a good rally.
That was all jolly, the setup for that, the build-up to it, Chris.
Yeah.
She was excellent.
Yeah, that was a great rally. And then there, if we see it here on the replay. Yeah, it's a good block, and then there's a poor shot selection from the Japanese. But Gayatri, she stepped into it. She stepped into it and she played a good block, and then really active at the net.
That'll do her a world of good after a few points earlier that she was...
So that's the thing, she just made 1 or 2 mistakes, but you have to put that to the side and, carry on. And you're exactly right, though. Sometimes it just takes a rally like that to just almost make you breathe. You breathe, relax, and you start again.
sensitive.
I think it was almost, it's hard to say exactly, but I don't know if she's now thinking she has to play such a tight shot. For me, she's got great touch. You know, she's got the best touch out of any player on the court. But it's almost, her racket's too close to her body. For me, I'd want her racket just a little bit further out, just trying to take it a fraction earlier. But she doesn't have to play that quite so tight, because I'd say she's got the advantage. She's there in a good position. And I just hope it doesn't kind of weigh her down, if you understand what I mean now. She doesn't want to overthink it. If she's just made 1 or 2 of those, she's still just as good as she always was as a player, just 1 or 2 cheap mistakes.
Just running away from the Indians at the moment.
But the thing is, they don't need to panic, because the integral part, they won the first game. And as long as they stay, you know, calm and relaxed, and they just need to now squash slightly these just slightly more comfortable mistakes that they've made.
There was a bit of hesitation there on Nakanishi.
But the thing, everyone has to be, there's this fine line between passive and patient. And by passive, I mean you're moving the shuttle around without really a direction or an emphasis. You're just moving the shuttle around, which you can't do. But then on the flip side, you have to be patient to an extent, because you can't force the rally and try and win the rally at the wrong time, because then you open up your own partnership and you expose your partnership. So it's just sneaked out. And I just feel just a little bit, because the score now is escaping the Indian girls, they're almost forcing it a fraction, but these extra mistakes are creeping in, because there, for me, Therese, does she have to force that shot? No. And if it takes another few shots, that's fine, to try and win the rally. But you can't, the Japanese, I've got to say, credit to them in the second game, because they've been very solid. I wouldn't say they've done anything drastically different from the first.
Ironically, on that shot there, that's about the first variation we've seen.
Yeah,
and that didn't work for them, though.
The big thing, though, that I actually quite like, which I wouldn't normally say, because I'm more of a person that likes consistency and playing the long game, that Nakanishi, what I said in the first game was I didn't think she had enough variation. But she's trying it, and she can try it, because they've got such a big lead.
Now that the cushion's there.
There's nothing wrong with trying other shots to make sure you feel comfortable for the third game. And she's tried a stop drop, a half smash, and that's what I hope from a neutral side of things we're going to see from the Japanese, because when they do that and they have the variation and the consistency, brilliant pair.
So the Japanese have leveled things here in this women's doubles match. They're taking the second game, 21-12. We're going into a third.
So we need to show them that if they want to run, let's run. So we don't panic. We keep running, we keep playing with high, and then we run, and then we wait for the chance. Yeah?
Court 1, 20 seconds.
Stay focused. Okay?
Court
Start the
1,
rally, look where the
20
forehand is.
seconds.
We find the backhand, and then we play that side. Okay?
Final game. Love all.
Managed to get anything there, Chris? That's not easy.
It was very hard. The only bit I caught was just emphasising to the Indian girls that they've got to be prepared to play the longer rally, because if they're trying to force it too early and they're making these cheap mistakes, they just can't do it against the Japanese. The Japanese, everybody knows as a nation, they're incredibly hard-working. They love a rally. Oh, that's incredible touch, though.
What a touch. Yeah.
But you're not going to win really a cheap point against the Japanese. So you've got to be prepared to play the full rally. You've got to invest. And also just re-emphasizing about, I believe Matthias thinks that the backhands from both the Japanese girls are the safe zones. They're nowhere near as dangerous on their backhands, which I would agree with. Just a bit of indecision there, whose it was.
Yeah, both looked at each other.
And it's just a little bit both of them, just because if you look at their positioning, Teresa just needs to be a fraction further over to cover the line, and then if she does, Gayatri will then cover the middle. Yeah. And it just both didn't quite move, and then there was quite a big gap in the middle.
Service over. 10-8.
This is another excellent start for the Japanese.
3+.
Service over. 9.
The unanswered points.
On call 3, women's doubles match number 6. Please welcome.
Service
I
over.
think that's really important, that, because it's a cheap point from the Japanese, but it was so important for the Indian pair to stop this run, stop this early run in the final game.
The umpire of the match, yes,
I was asked, Chris, I think it was last week or the week before, by a fairly casual observer of badminton, that he was asking me, the Japanese style and the Korean style, it's kind of attritional, right? To him, it seemed like they're playing a lot of rallies and they're quite passive, but they're not having to be proactive about things.
Well, sorry, that was an incredible pickup by Teresa there. That could be a big point, but no, I would totally agree. The way that stereotypically the Japanese, the South Koreans play is the big open court, as in they play the big game. That's how I'd describe it. And by that I mean really make your opponent move, solid defense, work the rally, not phenomenally creative, but incredibly disciplined with shot selection and hard working. That's how I would very simply summarize it. Whereas I'd say almost the polar opposite to that would be, let's say, Indonesians, who are traditionally an incredibly creative nation, quite flamboyant.
Playing the front foot a lot, right?
Well, yeah, they're looking to go forward. They're not really worried about the rear of the court. Dangerous net players.
Much more proactive.
Yeah, two very different styles. That's kind of how, if I was to very, very simply describe it, I'd say some of the Indian players now, especially the men's doubles anyway, they're kind of following suit a little bit more to the Indonesians in regards to they're getting pretty good at the no-lift style, moving the shuttle around quickly and aggressively. Yeah, it's quite interesting to see how different nations are kind of, that was good.
There's the aggression we talked about.
Yeah, and it was a really short lift from the Japanese, and you can't do that to Jolly. She's too powerful.
Now, we talked a lot. This is only the second match that's gone to 3. Remember, that was with Eun Se-young and Shi Yu-chi, where we talked about perhaps having a cushion going into the interval of the third game. Does it matter so much in doubles? As that is very clear. Brilliant defense there from Jolly, brilliant. And for me, the Japanese shot there is not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not crisp enough here. It's kind of in between, too hard, too soft. Now, the drift will definitely play an impact, because it depends if you want to play slightly with it or slightly against it. And this is the thing, though. I think all of it is personal preference. I mean, we've kind of seen the first game
could have gone either way.
Yes.
Second game was definitely dominated by the Japanese, but it's going to be interesting at the midpoint interval how it then unfolds with the final bit, and it's good pressure from the Japanese. Can they get it away?
Good work from the Indians so far.
But they're still so short with their and this is the thing. If the Indians, when they're lifting, they've got to find a way to get the lifts to the back, because if they're lifting short as they did then, don't get me wrong, I know they're under, you know, phenomenal pressure from the Japanese, but then it's just relentless pressure, and it's going back to that percentages kind of the way I explained then. The Japanese had 80%, you know, control, and the Indians were in so much trouble they couldn't even get it away.
Oh, that might have been going out.
And again, I feel like when the Indian girls get on the attack this side, they are dangerous. And we saw early in that rally, Gayatri, don't know if we're going to get to see it. No, we didn't. She made a real move to go forward and get the attack, and that's going to be the key for her. She needs to get her partner, Teresa. She needs to get her the attack, because Teresa at the back, she's got a big smash, she's a powerful player. If the Indians can get the attack in the start of this, it's then, well, in theory, then they should have the lead going into the change. Oh, it's a bit of a cheap one there. But they should have the lead when they change ends, which is going to be integral, because the Japanese down the other end, we saw in the second game, they were so good, so consistent, really efficient with the attack.
Going for the flip. Oh, that's a wild one. And perhaps the drift also coming into play there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure she quite remembered how much that can drift.
Probably not going to be doing that one in a hurry again. Let's see.
Brilliant defense.
Excellent.
And that's where the left-hander, right-hander combo are trying to set themselves up. But this is the thing, if we get to see it again here. So it's the left-hand, but she's not moved. And that's the thing, yeah.
Static for you?
Yeah, but she's as soon as so Iwanaga's the right-handed net player. As soon as it goes short to her partner, they should have that understanding that if she's going to play cross, she's got to move before the shuttle's played. Whereas she was still waiting.
Yeah, the Indians putting the pressure on here.
And this is the thing, there's no doubt. Whoever's attacking from the side, yeah, that the Indians are at, they've got so much more firepower, because the Japanese now are struggling so much.
We talked about the cushion, Chris. 4 or 5 points, not bad, right?
Yeah, no, definitely, but this is integral for the Japanese. They need to get a few more points before the break, because we saw in the second game, you know, it was a fairly comfortable when the Japanese get to this end, let's call it the good end, the end where the Indians are at the moment. Each point is pivotal, and that's
pull one back.
Yeah, I'd say Gayatri there. She just tried to force it. She just played slightly the wrong shot. This one here, you see, is upwards, and then she's having a duck. She's got to put that in a corner and look off, or she's got to use her phenomenal touch that we've seen.
So very crucial here. The Japanese looking to whittle it down as much as they can before the interval. Indians should be pretty happy with 11-7 if they can get there. Going to be enough.
14-18.
That was good there from the Japanese to get the attack back. Great defense.
Oh. Each other's way, so much riding on their points.
Just slight communication error there, and it happens. It happens.
From the Japanese point of view, this is excellent. Just 2 behind now.
Yeah, it's a real gift for the Japanese, but it's so important that the Indian girls just forget it. You know, it's 1 point. It was a miscommunication. They were moving the shuttle around fine. They've been doing everything, you know, everything good. They mustn't sort of dwell on it, as it were. They just forget it, carry on, next point, try and get, if they can take it in at 11-8, it's a small
It's not as
cushion.
good as it could have been, but it's still decent.
Yeah. Whereas 11-9, 11-10, or even been 11-10 down, and then the Japanese being on their preferred end, it's a bit of a bigger ask.
So this is about as close as the Indians want. They want to get to 11-8 now.
Service over. 19-16.
Japanese will feel this little run they are on right now. The momentum is with them. Well, this is excellent as far as the Japanese are concerned.
It shows there on the third shot. It's the placement of the shot often in a hall like this that can do the damage, because the shuttle was moving away from Pullela. It was moving away. It was moving towards the tram lines, which made it difficult for her to play that shot. Oh, and they've just forced that one, and all of a sudden the momentum shift. You know, at one stage it was... It wasn't comfortable, that would be an exaggeration, but it was a
4-point lead.
That's the thing, it was looking good for the Indians, and now all of a sudden it's 10-0. Brilliant defense from the Japanese.
Oh, the placement.
And this is
Plenty
where
of court to aim at. The Japanese have reeled off 5 in a row here.
and this shot here, you just got to be so careful when you go to the middle. Just because if you go to the middle, there's nothing wrong with it if your partner's expecting it and they can look off. But in that situation, you can see Teresa at the net, she's not expecting it, and then there's a massive gap. It's a great defensive shot from the Japanese, it is. But accidentally, the partnerships then got opened up.
Fantastic run here from the Japanese at a crucial juncture here. 5 in a row, and they go into the so-called better end now for the rest of this match.
And as you say, it's 10-6 to the Indians.
Hold 20 seconds. Hold 20 seconds. Please hold.
Well, there's got to be some kind of sinking feeling for the Indians after being in a very decent position. Now they're going to turn around. They've got to just draw what the Japanese did, Chris.
They've
On
got
that
to, yeah,
more difficult end, as it were.
they've definitely got to accept that having a longer rally, there's nothing wrong with it. You've got to play the full rally. You can't force it down the end that the Indians are at now.
Right.
And they've got to be high up with their bases. That's a good start. That's a really positive start. They're taking that rally on, stepping into it, taking the shuttle early, and then just putting the pressure on the opponents.
Right.
It wasn't a, it wasn't a crazy creative shot or a phenomenal shot that won the rally in the end. Look, stepped in, yeah, treat, and then look, just pressure. Placement. Placement is so integral, because if you trap someone, if you kind of put it in a really awkward spot, it's almost impossible for someone to easily put it away from you. They can put it away from you, but it takes a more skillful, more creative shot. Brilliant. And that's, since the change of ends, Gayatri, she's had 2 brilliant points, points. Stepping in, taking the shuttle early, and this is the key, and look there. And then that, I mean, that is a very, very good shot. But the only reason she can play that shot is because look how early she's taking it. She's making the move forward. As soon as she plays that block, she's in, she's forward. It's her net.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
She was told specifically not to tie her shoelace.
This is the one I do struggle with a little bit. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't see exactly the state of her shoelace.
It wasn't undone.
It wasn't.
She redid.
But the only this is where it's difficult though, because if her shoe feels too loose for her,
fair enough.
It could be considered, obviously, I've actually had it before when I've played, and my shoelace it wasn't a fit, like totally undone, but it was coming loose.
And that's uncomfortable for you. You want it
It's
tight,
dangerous.
Right? Yes. Exactly.
But then I totally understand it from the umpire's point of view. That's an intelligent time to take a short pause. So it is a very difficult one. It's a bit of a grey zone, to be honest with you. But I do think you almost have to let the players slightly have precedence there, because if their shoelace isn't done up correctly, exactly. You just want them to try and do their shoelace as quickly as possible. And I tell you what, Gayatri, since the change of ends, wow, she's had 3 points there where I wouldn't say she's done anything like 10 out of 10, but she's just been solid, stepping forward, taking it early. And just here, look at that. She just steps into it and punches the shuttle, and then when the shuttle's going over the net, it's so flat, giving her opponent no time at all. Shot, I think, there from Teresa. It's the right shot.
1 for 2. Men's single, that's number 7. Please welcome the technical officials.
6 of the last 7 points have come from that so-called more difficult end. That's good.
No, I think it was a fraction out.
Sorry, excuse me.
12.
Yeah, there is that. Excuse me. 2 points in front here, the Indians.
That's the one you got to be careful of, Teresa. It's just the drift's taking it.
13,
you could call it a danger corner. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's basically what it is. You can play that shot, but it's so difficult to play because the drift is just continuing the shuttle in that direction. Good cut out again. Just being big, being active at the net. And this is one of the key components that makes a good net player. There. Great cut out. I don't think the Japanese expected it at all, but she's ready.
Front foot again. Pullela. Here's Teresa Jolie.
Good shot there from Teresa. Good judgment from the Japanese.
14-15. Play.
And you can see behind the court the two Indian coaches, they're both applauding their players because the rally that they did was exactly the right rally. They did loads of good things. It was just the finishing product. Oh, just forcing it slightly.
Did she need to go for that, you think? Do you think was that there for the kill?
Yes and no. If you gave her that opportunity 10 times, I think she'd make it 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10,
but
yeah.
the difficult thing is, did she have to fully kill it? She could have just applied a lot of pressure, 90% pressure, which probably would have resulted in...
At least it would have gone over.
Well, it would have gone over, but it would have kept them in a great position.
Still in the 80% sort of thing?
That's the thing, and it's that difficult kind of conundrum, you could call it, because they should have won the rally, but again, and they've got to be so careful because when they're going central, especially when Nakanishi's on her forehand, on the cross side, she is brilliant at whipping that on her forehand here. They've got to be careful of hitting that forehand on the middle because the net player for the Indians can't cut this one out.
On court.
Teresa Jolie, I think, wanted a quick towel.
which I would say would make sense,
Yeah.
being honest, from a tactical point, because
Well,
they just
now
want
so it's the other way, right? They're now looking to just...
Exactly. You want to, as soon as your opponent gets the momentum, you just want to breathe, you know? You just got to almost clear your mind and start again and follow the tactics again.
Japanese have turned this around a little bit. They're under the clock. Oh, brilliant.
And that's
No
the thing,
chance.
it was just the pressure, as in taking it early. You know, it goes back to the point I made earlier, where if you just watch here, the Japanese, every shot they're taking early, and look how high she takes that last shot, and it's because she could punch it, she could hit hard, she could go over. So for Gayatri to make a move, it's a risky move. And this is so important. Take the shuttle early, step into the shuttle, take it as early as possible. If you take it early, your opponent has to take it late.
Japanese now in a decent position here, 2-point lead, all required to win this. Make it 3 now.
18-15.
Just a few slightly cheaper mistakes, that's all it is. She's ready, she's got it. And we saw it, you know, at 11 points when they changed sides. Gayatri was best player on the court. And it's just 1 or 2 mistakes just from the Indian pair just creeping in. And it's integral now, it's integral that they kind of stop this. They stop this run from the Japanese. 5-point run here from the Japanese. Attack is short-lived, but full credit to that attack is the placement. Middle of the tram lines, perfect placement, incredibly hard to defend against that.
You know, when we take away the All England from the Indian pair here, they've not gone beyond the second round of any other tournament this year. If they don't do something right now, it could be another early exit for them.
It's a good rally from Gayatri, just good pressure, good pressure.
Service over.
Get the attack.
16-19.
And I think for the, you know, as we said earlier about the Japanese being ranked, it's quite an incredible stat, ranked 20th in the world and being the 6th ranked Japanese pair. The depth that Japan have in ladies doubles, you know, it's incredible, but they're kind of both fighting different challenges. The Japanese have a big challenge of, with their world ranking, trying to get top 8, so that they could be maybe the 2nd ranked, or even if they're the top ranked. And for the Indian girls, it's also a battle because it's going to be such a tight qualification period for ladies doubles. I actually think ladies doubles could be the most exciting in regards to the most amount of possible pairs that could qualify in the ladies doubles. There are so many different pairs from, you've got Hong Kong, diverse, Chinese type, yeah, diverse. Whereas I'd say men's doubles, you've probably got the least, because a lot of them are coming from the same countries, which means a lot of them can't qualify.
4 match points here for the Japanese pair. Oh, thought for a second there, just survive it, but great win here for Nakanishi and Iwanaga. I'm afraid another early exit for Jolly and Pullela.
Jolly.
They put up quite the fight. Just think back to that 5-point stretch, Chris, just towards the end of that first half of the second game. Third game, sorry.
No, but you're right. For me, it's kind of what did it. It's tough because 15-13 up. They weren't dominating, but they were playing really well. 15-13 up, then almost in the blink of an eye, it felt like they were 19-15 down, and it was just that big run. That big run was the one that did it.
So a good win here. Iwanaga and Nakanishi win 20-21, 22, 21-12, 21-16. They've done it in just over an hour and 10 minutes. Doris and Iron. And we've got the fans outside. We've got lots of stalls and carnivals. It's a lovely atmosphere here that you can't get anywhere else in the world, just because they're such fantastic supporters of